From downtown, this is Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam, and you're listening to NintenDomain Podcast. Boom shakalaka!
This week on NintenDomain, Mar10 Day happened, and Tony Hawk bails, and I got one of the best games of the year. Stay tuned to find out.
Well, folks, it happened. I killed God.
Will it really be Tony Hawk 4 after all?
When they said money can't buy happiness, can't help but smile every time I'm stacking it. Every once in a while I wanna freeze what's happening, but cream the most accurate acronym. Go down, I'm out running death. Only one way to fulfill your wishes, so I'm at the station out of breath. One way ticket to the riches, one way ticket to the riches. Only one way to fulfill your wishes, so I'm at the station out of breath. One way ticket to the riches. Yeah. Gotta get that money! Gotta get that money!
No. Welcome to NintenDomain Podcast, episode 462. Your place to hear Nintendo fans celebrate the Mario Day, Mar10 Day, and talk about the sadness of Tony Hawk 4. But we are your hosts. I'm Trey Epiphany Oxblood Johnson.
Oh, is that your stripper name? My name is Jeremy. Man, Picross really checks my boxes. Mikowski.
I'm John, Dispeller of Darkness Knitter.
Spell darkness.
You spelled it wrong.
Dispelled
it. If you're dispelling it, do you spell it wrong? It's like Drakness, like Draknes.
I think you're spelling it backwards.
Yeah,
Drakens.
No. if it was backwards, then there'd be a D at the end.
Said
You're
right.
incorrect. Yeah. Mix a couple around. Anyway, hey, we're back again for another episode of NintenDomain. And why don't we start off the show as we normally do and talk about games that we got and games that we've been playing. I don't have a whole lot to talk about because I haven't had a whole lot of time, but I did manage to play some games since last week. I guess we talked it on the top of the show, so I do want to mention it. I played Tony Hawk 1+2, some more. I found that final bell, the final school bell. I found it.
Was it off in the corner?
Without your help, by the way. No, it's on top of the... There's like a building in the middle that you have to like jump to the top of, and that's where that's the one that I was missing because it's you have to get really high up the ramp, and
then you get on top of this like thingy, and then you like grind on a pole out to it, right?
I did where you jump off of the half pipe and you get up there. That's how I did it. You jump up the half pipe, and then I grind it on the side, and then jumped over to the top. But yeah, you can grind. There are like whatever you would call it, like electric lines or whatnot. You could grind there from the side, but I couldn't get the right angle to get to that. But I ended up doing like jumping off of the half pipe to get there. Is how I did it. But I found it. I found it. I played. Basically, I played it while I was editing. It's a great editing game. Because you can kind of do it mindlessly. I fucked around with Downhill Jam a little bit. But the main thing I want to talk about Tony Hawk, and this is a news thing, but let's do it at the beginning. Why not? Because we care about it. Last week, I was wrong. John was saying that Tony Hawk 4 was going to be different, and it turns out it is going to be different. It seems like they're really neutering the hell out of it, and it's basically going to be like Tony Hawk 1 through 3, which is really unfortunate because Tony Hawk 4, the big deal about it was that it changed things, and it made it made it more of an open world game. And, had a career mode and all that. And a lot of people are having feelings about it online.
It's very silly because I understand wanting to make it a cohesive experience. You're smushing two games together. All right, so you want it to be kind of different and a cohesive experience. But there's, I think, zero reason why you can't also do the pro mode. Like
you could do both. If you really want it to be like a 2-minute thing, you could do that, but you should still have, like, why are you even saying that you're remaking it if you're not remaking it? I mean, what I feel like is, it's probably a lot of things, but it would take a lot more effort to redo 4 because 4 had a lot of voice work. 1 through 3, no voice work. 4 has characters that talk to you and actually explain like what the missions are that you have to do, and it has this whole like thing going on, and it also has a lot of Bam Margera on there, a lot of the voice of Bam. And as we heard, also Bam is being excluded from the game, aside from his band. CKY is going to be on there, so there you go. He'll be there in a sense, but not his actual character. But I mean, my first experience with Tony Hawk 4 was actually Jeremy buying it. You bought it way before I did, and I remember playing it at the camp, at the Indiana camp with you. And I hadn't gotten it. Actually, I've probably said this on the show before. There was a big Columbia deal with Max. If you remember, like the iMac and the eMacs and all that, you could get a deal if you had a Columbia student, whatever. If you're a student at Columbia, and I got the eMac for Christmas for my mom because we got a big discount, a big student discount. And the eMac came with Tony Hawk 4. It was on the computer. So I got the computer for Christmas, and it came with Tony Hawk 4, and I had no idea. I guess it was included on there to show off the greatness of the graphics card that was included with the game, and that was my first experience with Tony Hawk 4. Was playing it on my eMac, and later, way later down the way, my eMac crashed, and I had to restart it. And when it restarted without Tony Hawk 4, so I was very sad. So I ended up buying it for very cheap for GameCube later, and I've played it there ever since. But I do have, like I was saying, I do have a lot of great memories for Tony Hawk 4. And Nintendo Life did a really good video, just complaining about how we should, how it should not be the way it is, because it's not a remake. If you're not making the game, you're not making the game.
Yeah.
Right. Call it something else. Tony Hawk Collection or something.
Or call it 3.5 or something. Because Tony Hawk
Something
4,
like
the levels are really, really big, and you're not going to be able to go across the level, and you're not going to be able to do all the things that you could do in there within a 2-minute span. You're just not going to be able to. Because that was the idea, is we're making bigger levels, we have more extreme stuff. And there was some non-skating stuff, but I liked that. I really liked the slalom missions that you could do, or you could play tennis with your skateboard, or there was all this, there was this weird shit, but that was kind of the way they were going with it.
Stuff, just for perspective, we all remember this was just after GTA 3 kind of changed things up, and open worlds were hot and new, and so I guess they looked at that and said that
it was some years after GTA 3.
But GTA 3 was very
still hot, right?
I mean, it didn't make a big difference.
Tony Hawk in the world of in the post world of GTA 3, for me, I understand the argument trying to make this a cohesive experience because it's 3 and 4, right? But there's zero reason why they can't also put the mission structure into 4 as it was. But then if you want to make it cohesive, why not also rework 3 to be that way in an optional mode?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting, So you could have the 2-minute timers on both games, but you could also have to make it cohesive as they want to, the mission structure in both games too. That would be cool and different, and a reason to get even more excited about number 3 while not being hurt about the exclusions from number 4. I don't feel I'm someone who's never tried number 4, and I'm been excited to play it all this time. And, over the last 20 years, I've always been kind of curious about it. I feel like I'm not even going to even get to play it really.
Apparently not. It's definitely not going to be the true version of 4. So that's really sad. Yep. I think I put on the Slack that I'm half excited now. I'm half as excited as I was before. That's for sure.
I'm still 100% excited for number 3.
They should sell them separately.
For number 4.
They should sell them separately. It kind of feels like the Batman Arkham trilogy all over again, where it's Asylum and City are good, but Night is garbage. Which I guess Night was garbage anyway, but it's extra garbage because it runs badly on Switch. So just don't make people buy all 3 of them.
I'd say I agree. I think they should have just done 3. Don't do 4 yet. Just do 3.
If you can't
make
do
it really, really good.
If you can't do it right, don't do it. It's the opposite of it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you can't do it, don't do it. If you're not going to do a remake, don't do it. If you're not actually going to do a remake, if you're going to do this this half version of it, this partial version, just fucking leave it alone. And they also in the news they showed out the amount of the how big the file's going to be, and it's actually half the size of Tony Hawk 1+2, which also gives more to that being all right, we're kind of phoning this in for 4. I don't know.
Well, I didn't read the article. Were they talking about the cartridge? Is it going to be the rest is coming on a download? It's going to
no. They're talking about the downloadable file because it showed up on the eShop. That's how they report those. It's basically because it's up for pre-order. and it'll show you how big the file is. Like that's basically what they're reporting on. It's like, here's all the new games that are coming out, and here's how big they'll be. And it was half the size of Tony Hawk 1+2. I only know this because I just got Tony Hawk 1+2, and that one's like 13 gigs, and this one is like 5. You know,
what if that means there will be a huge day one update? Like you're pre-ordering.
No.
This is the size of your file that's going to load onto your system.
It's not going to have like it's not going to have a 6 gig update on day one. They don't want to be like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, if you remember that that garbage pile when it came out, and it had a patch that was like 6 gigs or something like that. Like after you already buy the game, like no, they're not going to do that. This is what it is. Like, if you get a patch, it's going to be like 200 megabytes. But I mean, that kind of already talks to, you know, the quality of this versus the other one. I think, you know, is how small the file is versus, and this is a completely different team too. So I mean, I don't know. And and last week I also, another thing that I fucked up on. I said that you saw stuff from Tony Hawk 4 in the trailer, and I watched the trailer again, and no, I think the only thing you see is sketching. That's the only like small piece of evidence of Tony Hawk 4 in there. Everything else is all from Tony Hawk 3. So like, they knew it was bad to begin with. They didn't even want to put it in the trailer. They didn't even want to show it to you because they were hiding their hand. I don't know. I'll be real curious. Like hopefully, maybe down the road, like way past the release, maybe they can release a patch that'll actually put a career mode in there. But I mean, and not that they're trying to. I don't think they're trying to streamline it. I think it's just that it would take a lot of effort to make it the right way because of all of the dialogue that was in the original game, and also you'd have to deal with Bam not being in there, because Bam does have a big part in 4, and a lot of missions are based around him being like, oh, hey, do something stupid. Like, I think there's the one where you like fly off over the ocean and you land on the target, you know, like the monkey target type of thing. Mm-hmm. And, or like, you know, get in a fucking shopping cart or whatever. You know, he has like stuff that's like very much influenced by CKY that's in there. And if he's not going to be in it, there's a big chunk of the game that can't be in it as well because of that. So it's like, you know, you'd either use the original voices or you have to re-record them, and that's a whole nother endeavor that they'd have to do here. So,
but I mean, it sounds like these. I mean, from playing 1 and 2, that felt like a whole new game from 1 and 2. Yeah, it was like you had the levels design from 1 and 2 that were in there, and the characters and all that. But it did feel like a new game, honestly.
I mean, they added stuff to it. They added a couple new.
Yeah, these are essentially new games. New games dressed as old games. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I have to believe that this is still going to be a quality game. Remember, like Tony Hawk actually stepped away from Activision for a long time. Like he was making his own stuff. He had his own mobile game. It was a period where he was making his own stuff, and he wasn't allowed to use the pro skater term, but the pro skater name. He did a mobile game and all that. So I think
that's what happens when you let him get off his skateboard in his game.
That's right. Well, I think that when
don't let him drive.
Came back to, I have to think that, you know, he's a smart businessman, right? And when he came back to Activision this time around, especially after number 5 really burned everybody, and I'm sure he was not happy about the reception of number 5. I have to think that when he came back, he's smart enough to have some creative control over all of this, you know. And I think there's going to be some kind of guarantee that this is going to be a good game still.
I hope so.
He needs to get Jack Black to play it like he did the last one.
Yeah, I did see a joke about that online where it's like, just have Jack Black do all the voices for 4. It's fine. He'll just do all of them.
That'd be fine.
Just hire him. He'll just do impressions of everyone. It's a shame because, you know, Tony Hawk 5 actually came off of the very first Tony Hawk HD remix game on PlayStation 3, which was actually really good. Like I played the shit out of it, and it actually had they did an HD remake, but it was a combination of 1, 2, and 3, and it basically put all the levels into one game. But it was in HD, and it had a new soundtrack, and it had old soundtrack and new stuff. And actually, I played the shit out of it on PlayStation 3, and I thought it was really good. And they did as well, and they had faith in that company, so they let them do, you know, Tony Hawk 5, and then that didn't work out as well as they hoped it to. But I did think that one was pretty good. The one they did before that, the original Tony Hawk HD that came out on PS3 however many years ago, which I still have on my PS3. But I mean, I don't know. I hope for the best, I guess. It's just it's a bummer. It's a bummer because I like 4, and I want you to be able to play 4.
The internet
challenge,
hates
and
it.
you can't.
Or at least Reddit does.
No, I mean, no, the internet hates it. I looked at a lot of comments. Like every comment about Tony Hawk is like, too bad they fucked up 4, or too bad they're gonna fuck up 4. Or there's that one guy that's like, oh well, Tony Hawk 4 was never good, and I was like, you're fucking wrong. You are wrong. Tony Hawk 4 was pioneer of the system.
I also have to think that they hear all this, and certainly Tony hears all this, and hopefully they're going back to the drawing board and rethinking, and how can we be truer to number 4 and what it was. And well, Trey, you've got Tony's number. Give him a call. Voice your opinion.
Yeah,
I feel like Tony Hawk's really got his ear to the half pipe. He knows what's up.
I think so.
Hey Tony, stop texting me. Just make Tony Hawk 4 better. The remake. And stop charging us $20 for unlockable characters. We used to just be able to unlock them in the game. Yeah. Charge us $2 for fucking Doom characters, you asshole. What's that all about? Do better. Do your 900.
You shouldn't have to pay to make Doom run on your game.
Yeah, to have Doom skateboarders. Like, come on, dude. I mean, I think it's cool, but not for $20. You should be able to unlock them like you used to. We're not even getting. I mean, I said this last week. We're not even getting the cool characters. We're not getting Darth Maul and Wolverine. And Satan Girl and all those other people that are in there. We're not getting the cool
Antichrist
characters. Yeah, she had Antichrist there. Anyway, that's our like 15-minute rant about Tony Hawk. But no, it is
still looking forward to it. Still hopeful.
It is a shame. Optimistic. I'm looking forward to 3. I mean, I'll try out 4 just because it's on there, but
I will not be buying it day one.
I'm going to
see what people think.
I'm going to be upset about it, I'm sure.
This has the I know it's not the same company or anything, but it just feels like what happened with the GTA trilogy. Like
You're right.
Going to be just so disappointing that maybe it's better just wait.
Well, they waited till that one released for everyone to be mad about it. So because they didn't show anybody any of it until it actually came out, and then everybody discovered on their own how bad it was. But this one was kind of sneaky about it too. It's like, well, 4 is not really going to be 4. It's going to be this other thing, but whatever. But yeah, anyway, Tony Hawk 1 and Plus 2 is still fun, and maybe it's still on sale for $15. Check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. It's still fun to play. Last week I said I had only played a little bit of Sonic X Shadow Generations. That's also a fun editing game. I made it through the first boss, so I made it through all the way to the first big boss that you fight on there, and yeah, that game's a lot of fun too. I mean, you have like a world map, and some villain like sucks all the color out of it, and it's all white, and you go through and you do all these different levels, and as you complete levels, more color comes back into it, and more of your friends like come back to life, like Amy and Knuckles and Tails and all them. They come back to life and they talk to you, and then and there's like little challenges where you have to unlock keys, and you have to lock a certain amount of keys to get the boss. And then I got to the boss, but all the levels that are in there, they're all based on old Sonic games. So you'll play like the grass hill zone, and you'll play like the casino one, and what was it, the water one, and all the they're all recognizable, and then they're kind of like reusing them in that way, but it's supposed to be part of it because it's kind of like a Sonic Greatest Hits game, and you can switch from 3D to 2D Sonic whenever you want, and it's fun. And I still have not played the Shadow stuff yet because the Shadow stuff shows you what Shadow is doing during the events of Generation. I was like, well, maybe I should finish Generation first, and it's not very long from what I heard, but it's a pretty good just throw it on and chill out, run through some shit sort of game, and it's a good relaxing game if you want to kick your legs up and edit a podcast and play some Sonic while you're doing
just go as fast as you can.
Yeah. But a game you should not edit a podcast to because it takes more focus and more dedication is the game that came out last week that I was really excited about, a game called Sorry We're Closed, which, holy shit, this game is definitely it's a competitor for my Game of the Year list already. It's oh wow. It's a beautiful game. This game is, I mean, you can feel it when you start it. It has style. It has style out the ass, like 100%. It's, for me, it's definitely, it's trying to go back to the glory days of old Resident Evil, but it has so much style to itself. It's like what if Splatoon was a like survival horror game, like that sort of thing, like the style and hipness of Splatoon, but in like a low poly horror game, like a survival horror. That's kind of what I get from it. and it's hilarious, but it's scary and it's weird, and it's got like David Lynch vibes in there too, and like it reminds me of like Killer 7. It's got really weird shit that reminds me of Killer 7 and like No More Heroes. It's like No More Heroes plus Killer 7 plus Resident Evil plus Twin Peaks with a whole lot of like
LGBTQ
IA plus. Yeah, I was trying to remember all of them. LGBTQIA plus in there. Lots of queer shit, and people got pronouns. A lot of they thems going around. I love it. It's a wonderful game. The idea is basically you're a character that works at I think you work at like sort of like a quick stop sort of area, like a convenience store, and you had just got out of a pretty bad breakup. You know, you're pretty sad about your ex-girlfriend and all that, and that kind of caters into it. But your friends,
so it's Clerks.
Yeah, sort of, right? I guess you could say there's some Clerks influence in there too. And you're friends with there's basically like a block, and you're friends with everybody else who has their own stores. Like there's a record store, and there's a restaurant, and there's all this other stuff going on there. I laughed in the record store because you can look at the records, and it's like, here's the genre section, here's the subgenre section, and here's the subgenre section. I thought that was a fun joke. But the guy who runs the record shop is obsessed with demons, and you basically have a crazy dream where you see some demons and whatnot. It actually has a little bit of what's it called in there? It's got a little bit of The World Ends With You too in there. You could say, like how World Ends With You, you'd have where you could see that social distortion. Like whenever you put the filter on, you could see demons in the world that you couldn't see before. Yeah. It kind of has something like that, but I
thought you were talking about the band.
Yes and no, but no. Social distortion is what they call the demons in that. So yeah, it's both, a little bit of both. But it's got a really interesting fighting mechanic in it, as to where it has the fixed camera angle stuff that you would see in Resident Evil games, kind of like a top down, but you can't move the camera around. But when you get a weapon, you'll get an axe, but then you'll get a gun, and you hold the trigger and you go into first person mode. And when you go into first person mode, it's all in 3D, and you should turn on your gyroscopic aiming and put it up all the way up to high, because you got to aim really quickly. And basically the way it works is you get this third eye ability where you snap your fingers. I think you hit X or something, you snap your fingers, and it creates this bubble around you. And the idea is once the enemies get close enough and they get into the bubble, you can see their weak points, kind of like Killer 7. Where you got to shoot these specific weak points, and there's a combo system where you got to hit 1, 2, 3, and then and then they'll die quicker. Or if you take the bubble away, you can shoot them farther away, but they won't die as quickly as they will if you hit the points, and all that. So it challenges you to let the enemies come closer to you, but also there's a easier chance for them to kill you because they're within this bubble. And later in the game, you get this I forget what it's called, but you get this super move where you build up the meter, and you build up the meter by hitting the characters in their secret spots or whatever. So you need to do that to build up your super move, quote unquote, where you get a higher gun, and you can you can one shot kill any character. Actually, I got to a boss in the game, and that's, you basically have to build up your giant gun, and then you have to shoot them 3 times to get, and that's the only way you can do it. So you have to build up your super meter and then use it. But it's just really cool the way it looks. It's got style all over the place. And when you're walking around with the bubble around you, everything changes. It's kind of it's got a little bit of They Live vibe on it, where one poster will be a different thing once you walk by it in the bubble, and it'll show you what the poster actually meant, that sort of thing, the the consume
X-ray specs, whatever.
Or there'll be different characters or there'll be entire things in the environment that actually change, and they kind of do that a little bit too. You'll see spikes that you can't walk through unless you turn your third eye on, and then you can walk through them. But if you turn it off, they can kill you, if you happen to be where the spikes are and all that. So there's all these really interesting mechanics in it. And what I said as my nickname, what was it? Epiphany Oxblood. The game starts out with this soap opera scene going back and forth with these characters, and one of the characters' name is Epiphany Oxblood, which I thought was funny. That's why I wrote it down. But that actually kind of reminds me a lot, speaking of David Lynch, it reminds me of Invitation to Love, if you remember the fake soap opera that played during the first season of Twin Peaks, where they would do all these different scenes that kind of like reference what was going on in the show. They only do it in the first season, but it kind of has a lot of vibes to that. But yeah, it's pretty as hell. Like the art's really cool. It's like super like neon and like it's just, I don't know. It's just the way all the characters are created and the way they look is just so cool. Like I got it for $20. It came out last week. If you have any interest in like survival horror and Resident Evil and or like just weird games or queer games or whatever, check it out. Like it's really been impressing me. I wanted to finish it before this week because it's not that long. Supposedly it's like only like 6 or 7 hours, but there's different endings. There's multiple endings depending on how you go through it. So I really wanted to get through it, but I'm only like 3 hours in or whatnot. But it's very, very cool, and yeah, I like it a lot. It's been getting rated very well all over the place, and I remember hearing about it last year. It was kind of in the same category as mouthwashing. Like it's kind of in the same breath of that, but yeah, it's definitely my type of game. Like it's got, like I said, it's got a lot of it feels very hip, but I feel like I get it, like I belong. Like it's not like get out of here, get out of there, old person, fuck off. You don't understand us. It's not like that. I feel like I feel like I could hang with these people. You know, we could talk about sub genres or something. You know, but yeah, that's what I've been doing for the week.
Well, for this week, I booted up my Switch to play the new Game Boy games.
Oh yeah, I didn't play them. Oh yeah, Mario Picross and Donkey Kong 94. Yeah, those got announced in between episodes. Yeah,
and they dropped it when they were announced. But no, I've always wanted to play Donkey Kong 94. I may have tried it at some point. You know, I'm not saying I've never actually played it, but if I have, I don't remember much of it. So I booted up the Switch to play that, but I opened up Picross, and then that's just all I played. And I just kept playing it, and then I turned on my Switch later that day and played some more. And I think I completed around 10 puzzles.
I played a lot of that game.
It's so good. It's so good.
I remember getting Mario Picross, the Game Boy one. I got it as a free game through Nintendo Club points or something like that before the gold points.
It was
back in the Wii U 3DS days. You could get some like virtual console Game Boy games for your 3DS, like through like putting in.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
putting in the codes and all that. Because I got Tetris, I got the original Tetris game for free through that, and I also got Mario Picross, and I played a good amount of it on my 3DS, and it's great. Like I had a lot of fun with it. It's
a really fun game. If you like Sudoku, I think that's the closest I could compare it to.
It's like what if cross stitching was a game? Is what or a video game.
I've never played a Picross game. How's it work?
I was trying to explain. Well, because Jess was showing, because my wife Jess does a lot of cross stitching stuff, and they were showing me like cross stitching maps that you would make or whatever, and I was like, this looks just like Picross. And it's like a square, and there's a bunch of little squares in it, and there's like numbers on the top and the side that'll basically tell you like how many like squares you can poke out, right? But it doesn't say exactly where they are. So it would be like 3 and 5. So it means like 3 together and then 5 together, and you have to kind of.
But you don't know how many spaces are between them. So there's a whole lot of tricks to it. This doesn't. I mean, maybe it has like a tutorial in it or something. I didn't see it, but I just jumped into it. But what got me into Picross originally was when going back to those free things.
Oh, the Zelda one.
Yeah, the Twilight Princess one was the first one I played, and
there was a Pokemon one too.
Yeah,
is Picross like a thing outside of these games, like the way that Sudoku is its own thing, or crossword?
I don't think so. I think it's a video game based thing that Nintendo does. Like, not to say that it hasn't been.
Well, I mean, there's
recreated somewhere else.
I mean, there's a company aside from Nintendo that does it, because there's like 10 Picross games.
That's true. On Murder
Switch.
By Numbers.
Well, I mean, on Switch, there's games that are just called Picross that aren't made by Nintendo, and there's like 10 of them. And you can play demos. Like, there's a ton of them, and they're like $8. Like, they're super cheap.
I highly recommend Murder by Numbers because it's like a little bit like combining Ace Attorney or something like that with Picross. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But there are like
on Switch for a while.
There are ones just called Picross that's on Switch, and there's a bunch of them.
So it must not be okay. Then I'm wrong. I thought it was a Nintendo branded thing, but it must not be.
But there's also, like, there was like a Sega Picross, and there was like there's like a Namco Picross. Like there's been like a bunch of themed ones, and then there's one like variations of Picross, like the one you were talking about. But there are like just straight up just Picross games that is not. They're their own company, but yeah, they come out very frequently and they're very cheap, and you can play demos of like any of them.
One that's really cool is the one on DS, the Picross 3D.
Yeah.
Because you're actually making like these basically you're making these like pixelated like 3D models of things, and it just adds, by adding that extra axis, it changes everything. But no, there's certain tricks to it, like the grid. Complicated. At least initially, the grid's 15 by 15, and so there's certain combinations of numbers. Like basically, what you do is you add up the numbers, and then you put at least one number. So if it's like 2, 3, 5, 7, you would be 2, 1, 2, and then you'd say one more space 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're adding one in there, and that's how you like. If it adds up to 15, then it'll only fit as starting at the first square. There's just different tricks. There's also like the trick of like if it's 8, it's 8, and you have it limited to like 12 spaces at that point. You can figure out where, even if it was all the way to the left or all the way to the right, the spots where it would overlap and it would definitely cover. So it's different tricks like that that are kind of the key. And then there's a whole like notation system in some of the games. I don't think this one has it, but you could actually add like little notes whether or not you don't know they're going to be flagged, kind of like a Minesweeper. You'll like flag the spaces that are not.
Oh yeah. Where you can kind of mark it and be like, oh well. And you could do the same thing in Sudoku, where it's like you could be like, oh well, maybe there's one here, maybe there isn't.
But it's a very, I don't know if tedious is the right word, but it's very meticulous. There we go, that's the word. It's very meticulous, and you do get punished if you guess wrong. And the way this game does it is it subtracts your total amount of time. I think you have like 25 minutes to complete each puzzle. And you'll lose time if you click the wrong thing. But once you click the wrong thing, you know what it is. So you can kind of make that sacrifice if you feel like it. I try my best to not get any of those because it's more fun that way.
I just looked up Picross on like the Nintendo eShop, and I looked up the company. It's made by Jupiter. That's what they're called, Jupiter Corporation.
Okay.
And Picross just made by the Jupiter company. There's 15 different Picross games on Switch that they made. That's not even counting like the one that you mentioned earlier, or like the Sega one or the Namco one or whatever. Just ones that they've made. There's 15 different ones. So I mean, like I said, there's a shit ton of them. They're like all on sale too. You can get them for like $7 each. I think they all have demos. But I was trying to figure out what the newest one was. I thought it was Picross S9, but that came out like 2 years ago. So
yeah.
Oh,
I would say play this one. Play this one that's through your Nintendo Online.
Oh yeah, I guess
you're gonna figure out pretty quick if you like it, and just imagine those puzzles getting more and more complicated, and then that's sort of what's out there for you if you really like it. Because like I said, there's the 3D variation on DS, but there's just puzzles that are like maybe like 20 by 20 or something, and that doesn't seem like a lot more than 15 by 15, but it is. It's way more.
And I guess there's one coming out like next week. There's a Doraemon Picross coming out the 26th of March. So there's one on the horizon too. So, and
it's kind of fun because you're making a picture and you can sort of kind of try to guess what the picture is. Even if you're like doing the puzzle right, it's such a small grid of 15 by 15. Like it's kind of fun to figure out what the game's going to tell you that shape is. And I usually guess wrong, but I've got a few right. Like there's like an old telephone with like the wire and everything, or just stuff like that might be like a moment in history that doesn't exist anymore, but you could find it in Picross.
I'll definitely try this game.
Yeah, the original one's definitely like it's very, very basic on the on the items that you make. But yeah, no, try it out. I mean, you'll
also do like mushrooms and stars and stuff like from Mario games, and they throw in stuff like that to keep you on your toes. I mean, it is called Mario Picross.
There's like a Super Nintendo one too on there, isn't there? Like on the Nintendo Switch Online. Like I think it's already existed.
It's been on there for quite a bit.
And I think the Super Nintendo one has little like has little like animated cutscenes with sprites like in between every so many levels, which is cool. I remember playing that. So I mean, it's
it's probably called like Super Picross or something.
Yeah, because isn't there like a Wario? I thought there was like where there's some with Mario and some with Wario, and you can kind of flip sides from one to the other. Because I remember playing the Super Nintendo one, and it was it was a good time. So I definitely recommend trying it out.
Don't sleep on Picross. It's cool, and it's so great on the Switch. Like it would make more sense to play it. I don't know, it's the kind of game that you would play on the go more than on your TV, but I played it on TV. I played it on my giant TV. It's hilarious, but it's fun.
Oh, yeah, it's great. I have a good time playing, like, Game Boy games on the big screen, because it's like, it's stupid, but, giant sprites are fun, so why not?
Yeah, and you can see things well instead of squinting at that little tiny grayscale screen.
That's true, so, yeah, and you don't need a light.
So yeah, like I said, I never got around to playing Donkey Kong. I look forward to it. I loved Mario versus Donkey Kong. I did not play the remake, but I played all the way through the Game Boy Advance game and loved it.
You can buy it for like $30 now,
and I own it as well on the Game Boy Advance, the physical copy of it. So I have no reason to play it, but I will play it. Otherwise, let's see. My schedule is going to be a little weird, but I figured I might as well mention it because I was open about it on the show. In 2020, the place I worked shut down. It's a restaurant. It shut down because of the pandemic. And luckily, my boss owns more than one restaurant, so I was able to go to a different one and work there. But it's finally reopening 5 years later. So that's kind of where I am now. It's like a new job, but it's kind of not a new job. And it's kind of 2020 again, but it's not 2020 again. And I don't even want to get into all the details of how it's like 2020 again. But as far as my personal life goes, it's exciting. So who knows?
I'm curious, has the place been sitting there closed for 5 years, or will they?
It has, but they've maintained it. They've actually like given it a facelift in the meantime and done some small construction stuff. And then we got all kinds of new equipment, and it's fun. It's going to be cool. I've only had one other. Well, no, I take it back. I've had two other jobs where I like opened up a restaurant, and it's fun. It's some of the most fun stuff to do in the field I work in. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be stressful, but it should be cool. And that's my little personal life thingy, whatever. But also another little personal thing. I thought it was kind of cool. Oh yeah, there it is. Super
I did want to. I just started up. I wanted to just confirm what I said. But yeah, the Super Picross one. There's only the Japanese version, so it's all in Japanese. But yeah, there's two different levels. Like you either get to play as Mario or Wario, and you can swap between both of them. But there is no like tutorial. Well, there's a tutorial, but it's all in Japanese. But yeah, I do remember playing this one, and it has little cutscenes in between. It's fun. So play that one too, John. You have that one.
Play it
also, so you can do it.
Sure. I haven't edited a lot of episodes in NintenDomain, especially when you look at how many Trey has edited. But I've edited a few.
You should edit more.
I should. One of the episodes I edited. It would have been a couple years ago. I threw this band in there, and I'm actually going to finally get to see them for the first time.
What band is that?
It's called Horse the Band.
Oh, I remember hearing them from you, but I never necessarily listened to them aside from whatever you told me about them.
They're one of those bands that's like, well known and respected enough, but still like not so big that I can still afford to see them. So I think it was like $20 or something for the ticket. It was supposed to be at the Subterranean, but now it's been moved to the Bottom Lounge, which has got like a slightly higher capacity.
Oh, in Chicago?
Yes.
When?
June 12th.
Oh, okay.
June 12th. It's a Thursday.
Yeah, no, we Jess and I saw the 25th anniversary of Domestica with Cursive at the Bottom Lounge. That was a really good show.
This is kind of like that. It's the album after, the one that I know the best is called Arbor-Lax, but the album after that is the one that's I think they're going to play it in full, but hopefully they play stuff off of Borlax because that's my favorite album. But it's going to be cool. I'm really interested to see this band live. They seem like the kind of band that's going to be disappointing live, but I still want to see them live.
You've never seen them?
No, and they're like batshit crazy with like their time signature changes and all the stuff they do. And it's a little bit like hearing about, Dismemberment Plan. Like they're not the same genre at all, but Dismemberment Plan was legendary for not having a very good live
for
performance,
being terrible live. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, and I that was confirmed for me when I saw them like 12 or 13 years ago. Like it was not a live show.
I saw them play at Riot Fest, and they just weren't into it. Like it was just
it seemed that way when I saw them.
They just had really low energy, and it was like raining and then I saw like Against Me after that, and like they were like super into it, even though it was raining. And I don't know.
I just felt like Against Me is a fucking real ass punk band.
Well, yeah, they just didn't. I don't know. They didn't seem really into it, and it was a shame because I really, I love like their first 3 albums. But
there's this thing that if you see a band live,
was meh.
As a vocalist, I'm always like focusing on that a lot, maybe more so than a lot of people do. But there's this thing that vocalists do live sometimes that really pisses me off, and that's when they just like, rather than finishing out the line, singing it or whatever, they just kind of like talk it out real quick. They'll be like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, like if in cursive was like, the night is walking down the staircase and I for one have felt its presence, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like instead of like singing it, they just kind of give up.
They're not giving it the effort that they would.
It doesn't fit the timing. It's talking, it's not singing. And it's like, do you even know your own damn song? And that's kind of how I felt about seeing Dismemberment Plan. I'm not trying to talk shit about Dismemberment Plan. That wasn't even the point of this whole thing.
That was like
the point was that I'm going to see.
Yeah, that was like
I'm seeing a band that I expect to have a very sloppy show.
Why do you think that they're going to have a sloppy show? They've got a bad
reputation. You just got to listen to their music. It's sloppy, even though it's like professionally recorded. Like it's got a certain sloppiness to it that I love. Don't get me wrong, it's great, but
you don't know if they can recreate the sloppiness live.
To think of that chaos like taken to the next level of being played live, I'm just not. My expectations aren't high. Not to mention it's a reunion thing. I don't know if they've been touring or anything, so I'd be interested to see if they've still got the chops, so to speak.
If they sound like,
see if they still like each other,
like stylistically sloppy on the record or whatever. Like usually whatever's on the record is your absolute best performance, and so like yeah,
depending on whether or not you paid for it yourself, whereas then you might not have enough studio time to make it sound great. Which I don't know. I don't know for sure that they did that, but the long and short of it is, I love this band because one of the big things about them is they make a shit ton of video game references, especially like old Mario references and Zelda references, and then the keyboard player looks almost exactly like the guy who plays Napoleon Dynamite, like. And he's embraced it, but he plays with a whatever patch he uses is like the original Game Boy, like sound chip or whatever. So that's like almost all the keyboard is that sound, and in fact sometimes he'll even like start playing like. There's one song, I think that the song that I put in the episode where they start playing like the dungeon theme from the first Zelda game. And it's just so cool, like mixed with like chug guitars, like it just sounds so good. And I'm looking forward to it. And I kind of impulsively bought that. It was one of those things I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get a chance to see Horse the band after this. Maybe I should just do it. So my plan is probably just to drive out there, see the show, and come home because I will have to work the next day. But it should be cool still.
Oh, you think?
And then I guess,
you think you'll still have the schedule at the new place through June? Probably.
I have no idea what's going to happen. It's this giant field of uncertainty, but within a few weeks I'll know, and I'll know well before June 12th. So we'll see how it goes. That's literally 3 months from today. Let's see. Oh, the last thing I mentioned, I killed God. This is of course the Japanese trope, especially JRPG trope. Right before we got on the podcast, I beat what I can only assume is the big bad because the chapter ended and now I'm in the chapter called Epilogue, but I haven't played it at all. So I don't know if I'm just going to run around and talk to characters. Yeah, Lacrimosa of Donna. Sorry, I didn't say that.
Yeah, I remember.
So I think maybe I'm just going to go talk to some characters and the credits are going to probably roll.
I remember there being like
a
super epic.
Shit.
I remember there being like a super epic boss thing that kind of went on for a really long time. That's what I remember.
Oh yeah.
Well, also because I was beating it at like 7 a.m. Like you were there because I would stream. I only streamed it while I played it, and I finally got to the end. And yeah, you were there. Like you left like while I was beating the game at like 7 or 8 in the morning or something like that. Yeah, you were there for whatever reason. You were there for whatever reason, and I stayed up beating the game. And as you left, like as I was beating it, and I remember I think you do like I think you do go back and talk to your people, but I don't know. I don't remember. It's a long time. It's on the internet.
No, I'm just kidding. It's the chapter is called Epilogue, so I don't expect to fight anymore.
You really sped through that game. Didn't you just start playing it like last week?
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's been almost 3 weeks since I started playing it, but I really put the nose to the grindstone. No, I think I'm pushing 50 hours, and I was going to say
I think it's like 40 hours or something like that, 40, 50 hours.
Yeah,
depending.
I've done a lot of side quests, but I don't think I did that great of a job because, as I said last week, the map in this is just kind of frustrating. You don't really ever know how to get to certain spots on the map, even though you can pull up the little sub map and get a more detailed view. It still doesn't necessarily help, and you have to go in these crazy roundabout ways to get to certain things, and that was I got hung up a few times in the story, not knowing exactly how to get to the little icons on the map. But after I played it for a good 30 hours, I really started to get the hang of it, including like the setting the right special moves and using the right character for the right kind of enemies, and I got all my weapons pretty much maxed out and got really good armor, and I had a great time with it. It's a A+ action JRPG. I think everybody should play it. It's so good, and it's definitely shows its age, but not in a bad way.
I couldn't believe it. Well, I was drunkenly texting Jeremy the other night when I got back from that Milwaukee the Milwaukee shoot last week, and I got a bunch of beer. Got a bunch of beer also. I went to a brewery and got they let you choose whatever you want for it was like 12 beers for $20, like choose your own, which is pretty great deal for a brewery.
For a brewery,
yeah. And, well, it was basically we went to this restaurant down the street from our hotel called it was called like Uncle Wolfie's Dinner Diner Club or something like that. It had an interesting name, and I really wanted to go there. And they had brunch and dinner, and we went there, and I guess it was some like Milwaukee famous chef worked there or whatever. And it was great. The food was great, but they had this cream ale on the tap that I really, really liked from the MKE brewery, which is the Milwaukee brewery, but MKE is what it's called. And I liked this beer so much that I was like, I should look for this, because whenever, a lot of times when I'm out of town on these shoots, I like to go and grab a bunch of local beer so we can take it home and try it out. And Jess has actually been making TikTok videos of us trying beer and all that, which are out there. There's probably like 15 of them of us trying different stuff. But yeah, it's been I was like, oh, I should go get some stuff. So we went to a bar on the last day in the market, which has all this different stuff. And I was talking to the dude, the bartender. I was like, where can I go to get great beers? And he sent me to this. It's called Fine Vineyard. Sent me to this place that's supposed to have a ton of beers, but they did not have the cream ale that I wanted from this brewery. So I ended up driving to the brewery, and and you could buy however many 12 drinks that you wanted, and put it in a 12 pack and charge you $20 for it. So I ended up getting the cream ale and a bunch of other ones, and it was really good. I don't remember why I got on this tangent, but but beer is great. Oh no,
you were talking about how
we drank a bunch. No, we drank a few of them, and I was and Jess went to bed, and I was like, I've been working all week, so I'm going to get drunk. So I drank 2 more beers, and I kept texting Jeremy back and forth about ease and about rats and whatever else on the phone, and and I had a couple more shots, and I was just looking into it because I was I was like, how old is Ease? And I guess it originally, because it was my number one game of 2018 when it came to Switch finally in 2018, but the game originally is a 2016 Vita game, and I always compared it to the movie Your Name, which is a very, very good anime movie that Jess and I saw. We saw at the Music Box years ago. An incredible movie, and I always compared them to each other, and it turns out that they actually came out in the same year. I always thought that Ease was heavily influenced by Your Name, but Your Name is actually heavily influenced by the 2011 the earthquake tsunami tragedy of Japan and all that. So
in Indonesia.
So they could have both been inspired by that, because Donna's her world gets destroyed too. You've seen enough of that the Lacrimosa is the destruction of humanity and all that. So, yeah, So it could have both been influenced by it. But yeah, I was just drunkenly looking up Ys stuff and bothering Jeremy about just texting you. But I figured you had some drinks too because you were texting me back. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
but it was a good time.
I was actually taking some time off, and I was a little lit up that night. But I was having a good time. I had a great time with this game. I'm
glad you finally played it.
It's a little tropey at first, but I feel like it kind of gets away from that pretty quick, which is nice. And
it's got a little.
It's just a good action game
at the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm. But it's a good action game. It's got a really satisfying equipment upgrade system, and there's like sort of kind of a crafting system, which is more like trading. You're not really actually making stuff. You're kind of like trading for it, but it's sort of like crafting. And you can grind if you want. It gives you that option, and it has a really, really awesome like fast travel system. It's up there with Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Like you can be in the middle of battle and fast travel if you want. So I think that's cool. It just makes it really. You can save anytime, so it's a really good game for like picking up and setting down again. You can. And a lot of times I would just put my PlayStation to sleep mode, but you can save anytime, like I said, and then warp back to where you were. I was at the final boss, about to walk up to it, and I was like, I want to go buy some potions, and it let me do that. It wasn't like, you can't go back now like a lot of games will do. I was able to go back and get more healing items, which helped. I still beat the boss on my first try, but I've been playing on the normal mode, so if I pumped it up a little bit, I probably wouldn't be having as easy of a time with it. But I'm happy I beat it on normal mode because.
And there's like 4 or 5 different
on Ys 9
modes too. There's like a nightmare mode or whatever. I remember that where you can make it even harder.
Fuck that
if you wanted. But I mean, and there's New Game Plus too. So if you wanted to like go through it again, you could like play it harder and have all your stuff and all. I do remember that being a thing on there.
Yeah, cool game. Glad I finally took Trey's recommendation 6 or 7 years later and played it.
Yeah. Badass soundtrack. It's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time.
Oh, yeah. Great soundtrack. It makes me want to play more Ys games. And it also
Sunshine Coastline.
Got me.
One of the best overworld songs of all time.
There's a song there that sounds just like the Street Fighter 2 theme. But I can't remember what it is. But it sounds so much like when Street Fighter 2, like when you boot it up and that little the way the song starts. There's a song that sounds so much like that every time I hear it.
I think I know. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
It's still good.
Some of these, Ys games always have incredible soundtracks, but some of these songs go back as far to like the original games, and some of the original Ys games actually had like songs written by Yuzo Koshiro. From Streets of Rage fame. So, yeah, some of these are actually remakes of old Koshiro numbers. So, yeah, they're still incredibly tight. There is like, I remember there was a song in 9 that's kind of like we're giving you the details about the mission or whatever, and it goes all the way back to like Ys 2 or something. Like it's like an original song that they just kept like remaking for every game, and it's pretty fucking tight.
Well, I will say I'm an Adol fan now. I would buy an Adol amiibo if I ever found it.
Oh fuck yeah, I'd buy one too. Adol is great. I love that redhead little fucker. He's wonderful. He's a good dude.
That's pretty much it for me this week.
You should play. You should play all those other games. I mean, I'm sure there's other free ones on there. I mean, recommend
9's on there.
I would recommend.
I could play 9 right now if I wanted. Monstrum Nox or whatever the hell it's called. That's on there.
You can try it out.
And then the next big game I'm going to be playing, it's coming out later this month.
Oh yeah,
a little game called Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah, there's like some pre-order stuff on that.
I'm pushing myself into that.
I've swore to myself that every episode will end with the Xenoblade Chronicles X song until it releases next week. I mean, I guess I just did it last week, but I'm going to do it this week too.
We should also have to talk about it every episode until we beat it, because that's what we did before, and then we never beat it.
I'm going to have to get a lot of new games over the next month.
I mean,
I want to beat it.
I'm really excited. I mean, just Monolith Soft we've already talked about, is an incredible developer, and I was just thinking about it the other day. Just the little amount that I know about this game, and already like how much more effort they put into it. So like we were talking about earlier, like Tony Hawk 4. It's like we're not even doing the whole game. But Xenoblade Chronicles X, even against what Nintendo has done, it's like we're going to re-release our game, but we're doing all this stuff. We're also doing an entirely like we're like remixing like all of the songs like for a soundtrack that already was like insanely amazing. But it's like, what if we had like 3 different flying songs and like 3 different variations of like the regular flying song, and it just amazes me how much more they put into it, and it's going to have like an extra epilogue that wasn't in the original one, and it's just they're kind of trying to streamline a lot of the stuff together, and I'm just really excited about it. I'm very.
I'm going to guess not being a fan of the series and never having played a game that series, whatever. They've probably seen over the last 8 years, series after series on Switch, some of which that they even contributed to, like Animal Crossing, whatever, that finally got their time in the sun. And so they're probably saying, like, this is our baby, this is our series. Let's do it up the best we can.
And they do. All the Xeno games are.
Well, they've done it. Yeah, I mean, the way they did, like even Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Definitive Edition, when they released that had it added its own like extra 30-hour epilogue on there, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had like the Torna. The Golden Torna Country or whatever it's called, and that was another like 30-hour thing, which is fucking awesome. Like that DLC for that game was so good. And then like 3 happened, but then 3 had DLC also that came out down the way. So they've always added stuff to every game. And what's great is like every new Xenoblade thing is always different in its own way. Like I played like the Torna Country, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good. It should be like this in 3." But then the 3 battle system was even different, but still even better. Like so, like they're always constantly like upgrading things, and I'm just it's great that the entire Xenoblade Chronicles series will be on Switch as of next week. And don't forget that we would never have Tears of the Kingdom, we would never have Breath of the Wild if Xenoblade Chronicles X did not exist, because they're the whole reason that any of that was ever what it was.
Then we wouldn't have any of that without Project Rainfall.
Oh yeah,
a grassroots movement to get them games to release here.
Yeah, going even farther back, because they weren't even going to release Xenoblade Chronicles in America. Like what the fuck, man? Like, I'm glad you did, because I mean they're doing fine and they're expanding their company. They're hiring new people. They just got like the cutscene guy from Final Fantasy 16 is on there. Like they got somebody from Square Enix onto Monolith Soft. Like this was just in the news. So they're still expanding. So obviously they're working on some shit for Switch too, and I can't wait to see what they do for that, because they're very good at making beautiful ass games. So do it. But yeah, why don't we take a break and then we'll come back and race through the news and whatever John has to say about Tears of the Kingdom.
Hey, you.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, you. Subscribe to our Patreon to hear our bonus shows, which happen every month.
I'm tired.
Tired of all the big corporate podcasts spoon-feeding you the same old video game news on every single show?
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Then expand!
With NintenDomain Expansion Pack.
It's us talking about old games that were important to us. It's us interviewing people that we meet at conventions. And heck, it's live shows from those same conventions. It's basically everything you could want that NintenDomain ever made.
Here we go!
And it's just $1 a month.
That's less than a bad indie on the eShop.
It's $12 a year, which is less than Nintendo Switch Online.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting NintenDomain.
Just go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast and hey, Mario, let go.
Whoa!
He's throwing us back to the show.
So long, Bowser.
Patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast.
Game over.
Anyway, we're back from the break. John, what you been doing?
Well, I finally got all the light roots in Tears of the Kingdom, so I am the Dispeller of Darkness.
You have them all. I never did that.
You didn't?
Got them all.
Oh, I thought you... Yeah,
I gave up because
I thought
couldn't.
you got the... I mean, did you get...
Maybe... No, wait, I take it back. I got all the light roots. I didn't get all the
temples?
Shrines.
I was going to say, did you... Because at one point...
I did get all the light roots because they give you a little notification when you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at one point I wanted to get all the shrines
metal.
until I didn't. So
yeah, my last light route was Treble because it was like apparently the smallest one on the whole map. I couldn't find it, and it took me probably 3 or 4 hours. I finally just said, "That's what I'm doing today." I'm combing the map. I'm just like starting in one corner. I'm walking up and down the whole thing, zigzagging, and finally I actually found it. It was like to the point where I'd actually forgotten what an unlit light route looked like. And so I was like checking everyone off in the distance, even though it looked just like the one before it,
it's like that one's
lit up,
not worth looking at.
Like, is that one lit, unlit? Is that one unlit? I don't know. I forgot what that looked like. But yeah,
too much light.
I just caught it off in the distance. It was like walking around the corner, and that looks different. Right. Yep. That's it. Sure thing.
It's one thing I'm going to miss of never getting experience for the first time in that game again.
Yeah.
Was finding all the light routes because you would just drop into the dark and you see one like you don't even know what's between you and that thing, but you're going to try to go to it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was cool. I like the whole thing of uncovering all the the dark spots and figuring out, trying to
all the routes are the names opposite of the shrines above.
Yeah. They're backwards, right? And isn't it like because you can see the route in the distance, right? But then everything in between you and it is all dark. So yeah, it's all about trying to figure out how to get there, and you might get lost.
There's so many times where I
wall or something.
There's so many times I'd be going towards the light route and I'd be like, I should be there by now, and I would realize that I was going the wrong way or something for a really long time because you lose sight of it. It gets blocked by all the stalactites or whatever, all that shit hanging down, and all the pillars.
You get tripped up, and like maybe you don't have that enough stamina of your stamina wheel, or you don't have a good climbing suit or whatever powered up all the way, and it's like, oh, this is actually harder than I thought it was going to be.
I used my hot air balloon machine a lot down there. Which I could have used my whatever they call it, the glider, but I didn't know how to make that at the time, so I used the hot air balloon machine most of the time down there.
Yeah, I was using that a lot as well. So yeah, I finally uncovered all those, and then from there, it was like, okay, because they're all connected, so that I could confirm, like, where I've got if I've got all the shrines on the land and whatnot, right? And so I was going back and forth on every corner of the map, just like, looking at the underground and then above ground, underground above, just trying to look for those little blue spots to confirm that I had all the shrines on the land. And I think I've got all the shrines on the land. Like, I've really, really combed it up and down. So I'm confident that my remaining shrines are all up in the sky. As that just means one of these days I gotta build some good enough airplanes and and fly around with my.
That's fun too. Man,
it's fun
so
too.
much fun.
Oh yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, now that you have all the ones at the bottom, you know where the ones on top are. Even though, some of them, as you're saying, some of them are in the high,
sky.
So you can't.
One
I think
difference
they're not as easy to find.
One difference we don't mention enough about how I
some
finished
of them
the
are
game
also
so
really,
quick
really hidden.
was because I used there's an item duplication glitch that got nerfed, but I didn't update my file until I had gotten a lot of.
Oh yeah, didn't you get like 120,000 rupees or something ridiculous like that?
I had a shit ton of rupees, and then I had a bunch of the whatever the spheres are, the big spheres that help you gain experience faster. Or that let you make your batteries bigger. So I maxed out my battery power really, really early, way earlier than I should have, which made traveling around a lot more fun, to be honest.
Yeah, I did finally, a while ago, I think it took me like 600 hours or whatever to finally power up my battery all the way. And I didn't prioritize that at the beginning. And I finally at some point realized that would really exponentially increase my ability to get around and find other stuff. So,
I mean, you get to a point where your stuff's despawning before it would ever run out of energy, which is kind of annoying, but there's certain vehicle combinations you can make that don't do that, including the hover bike.
Yeah. It's a little tough to figure out why that is. The gliders seem to go pretty quick compared to the other stuff.
Yeah. They were nerfing, or they were doing what they could to keep you from getting too far too quick. But yeah, I remember finding myself up at one of the temples in the sky, and I got there by flying there, and I'm like, what the hell is this? It wouldn't let me go in or anything, and it turns out that I was supposed to get to it from the ground.
Right.
But it just was part of my sky exploration that I ran across it early, and yeah, everyone's got their own little story with this game. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I bet if they re-release it on Switch 2, I'll probably play it again.
I would totally play it again. I'd totally get it all over again. Yep. It's my favorite game of all time.
You can play it. I mean, you'll be able to play it on Switch too. You mean an upgraded? They should just charge you
visuals and all that.
They should just charge you a little bit just to. They should do it like the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 thing, right? Where it's just well, I mean, they should automatically do it, or if they do, charge you $10 or something like that.
I mean, if they do charge full price,
get the Switch 2 version,
add a bunch of extra shit, or combine it with Breath of the Wild, have Breath of the Wild in the package, or something like that. And just the thought of those two games packaged together, that's an insane amount of gameplay.
That's good value. Yeah, they could get a lot more money out of people just by doing that. Call it the HD collection, whatever.
I mean, you never know. Maybe that was the reason that Tears of the Kingdom never got DLC, right? Was that they were saving it for some sort of special Switch 2 version that'll have all that. Because Breath of the Wild had DLC, but Tears of the Kingdom didn't. So it's kind of
not. Yeah, they pretty much explicitly said hey, Tears of the Kingdom is the DLC. It is all of our last ideas shoved out the window.
Yeah,
here you go. We're on to the next thing.
By the way, you don't need to earn the motorcycle anymore. You can just build it.
You just build it. Yeah. I'm with Jeremy. I'm a little disappointed I missed the motorcycle too, but I'm a little disappointed in the mech. I wish that the mech was more like the ultimate vehicle, the ultimate mode of transportation. If it was a motorcycle and you could launch it up in the sky and fly it across the land, it's
essentially useless other than for whatever the puzzles they have for it. But otherwise,
a little bit.
It's just it's dumb.
It's nice as some backup muscle if you put some cannons on there, whatever.
I guess so. I just like to put Bosun on there.
Oh yeah, nice.
Or Bolson, whatever his name is.
You should put Mark Boson on there. He's a cool guy.
Oh, he's the coolest.
He works for Way Forward now, I think. Well, his brother worked for it, and I think
he works for Disney now. Actually,
I thought you told me he worked for InfoWars or something.
Yeah.
Well, his brother, I think his brother still works for Way Forward, though, right? That's how I originally heard about him. Was from Mark Boson.
I still see videos
talking about them on IGN back when
they
started
videos of
the NBC
of his brother on Way Forward. Yeah, yep. But Mark Boson, he works. Last I saw it in the gaming division at Disney. So yeah, he's doing well for himself.
They're doing a lot. Maybe he's working on Dreamlight Valley. That's.
Am I confusing him with someone else? I am. I'm confusing him with the guy that Bob Mackey was always arguing with.
Yeah.
Chris Antista.
Who's that guy? Yeah, no, it was someone else.
Henry Gilbert.
No, it was like a really toxic person that used to be on IGN.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name.
Colin Moriarty.
Colin. Yep, that
Moriarty,
guy.
yeah, that guy.
Which is kind of funny because
Which is nothing like Mark Boson.
I think it's funny because Moriarty's like
syllables.
Sherlock Holmes' nemesis. And,
and he was.
Sometimes I feel like
he's a Star
Bob
Trek
Mackie is a bit
villain,
of a
too.
Sherlock Holmes lilt to his speech.
Isn't Moriarty a villain in the holodeck also on Star Trek?
Yeah.
He made his way into Picard season 3, the only good season of all the Picard seasons.
Also, I think the last name of one of the characters in The Boys.
Moriarty?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Sounds familiar.
So I listened to this interview with Gail Tilden.
Is that the cool. Nintendo Power lady?
Yeah, she was
who created Nintendo Power.
That's correct. She was the first
had
editor.
A hand in it.
She was the first editor of Nintendo Power. She was a Nintendo marketing person back from the very beginning. She was part of the crew who helped launch the NES in New York and all that kind of stuff. So she really has like the inside scoop. And I recommend everybody who's listening to this should go listen to this podcast. It was the Video Game History Podcast, which was put on by the Video Game History Foundation. Frank Cifaldi was the interviewer. It was just him and Gail Tilden.
I have to mention though, Retronauts did an interview with them quite a while ago. Did you listen to that, Jeremy? The live interview with Gail? They did it at a convention. Because that one's really, really good too. And I think that one came out a year ago, maybe. But I really had a great time listening to it. She talks about like what became of the original like clay models that they used like for the covers of Nintendo Powers and stuff like that. It's really, really good. She had the Mega Man one, and one of the one of the janitors threw it away so she lost it by accident, which I was like, because she loved that. It was like one of the Mega Man 2 ones. But they did a really, really good episode with her as well. That I forget. It was like at Portland Retro. It was one of those retro places. It was like a live thing, but she was really, really cool on there.
A panel.
Yeah, it was a panel, but it was excellent because I was like, I don't know. Normally, I don't like those live ones, but I don't either. I liked that one.
I usually skip them. I
like that one because she said a lot of cool stuff about trying to convince people to get into Nintendo Power, and I think she got into the Dragon Quest giveaway as well. Like she had a lot of cool stuff to say.
Right. She talked a little bit about that in this one too. She talked about there were some interesting revelations. There was at least one time, maybe two, where Frank said, "Yeah, wow, I didn't know that." Like it was a revelation for him. He's the guy who runs the Video Game History Foundation. Yeah. So this was some really, really cool stuff. One thing that she mentioned was like going back to the first efforts to make Nintendo movies. They were talking about doing a Metroid movie, and they got even pretty far with like John Woo's company and stuff. Like she was talking about going to the interview or not interview, but going to meetings with John Woo's people about.
That's a hard boiled guy, right?
That's the hard boiled guy. And
Metroid in that. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, he did Face Off too. I think I knew that.
He did Face Off as well. Yep. Another one was like the subject of doing a Zelda movie back in the early 90s and whatever that came up, and it was a flat out no from Miyamoto. So that's the reason why that never happened back then, because she said it was put to Miyamoto. Okay, what if ideal scenario? What if Steven Spielberg says, "I want to make a Zelda movie"? Miyamoto says,
"Don't let him do it."
Yep.
He'd probably just like made Always or 1941 or one of those other garbage movies that nobody wants to watch.
So it was just a really cool interview. Everybody should go listen to that. Yeah, it was cool. One other thing I wanted to mention is not related to Nintendo.
I have a lot of time to fill with podcasts on my drive back, so maybe I'll download that one.
You should listen to it.
I need to fill another 13 hours of. I had 13 hours of podcasts.
Oh, I've got all kinds of ideas for ska podcasts if you're interested.
Maybe
I listen to a lot of those.
I know you do. I've heard I've seen you talk about it on Slack.
So this is not Nintendo or video game related, even just something interesting that I read today, which was in Canada. There's a Canadian beer called Moosehead, and they, in protest to Trump, have released a crate full of beer with 1,451 beers. The number's significant because they call it the presidential pack. That is the number of days of the Trump presidency. So it's
Can you imagine only drinking one beer
that we have left so far. Does it keep going down like every day since they've announced it, or do you still have to buy it?
No, you get the whole pack, and so
I want to wait like two years and then get it when it's cheaper, when there's less in there.
No, it's just
I imagine it's limited release, right?
Actually, so it sounds like they're kind of making them to order, and they said they have pre-orders for 40 of them. I don't know how much this thing costs.
Do you really want some of these beers in your fridge for 4 years, though? That's the thing. Like, beer does get skunky.
I mean, you gotta have a big fridge. Either that or a big space to hold them.
I think you would want them to ship it to you in multiple shipments, because I wouldn't want to drink 4-year-old beer. Hell no.
Yeah, I mean,
so they're really looking at this as like,
especially like low ABV stuff.
This is like, the interview was with their marketing person, and this was like a way to get behind the groundswell of Canadian pride that's going on in response to these stupid tariffs and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so this really is a marketing thing, but it's kind of going beyond their expectations, because they've pre-sold 40 of these things. And do
they do Moose Drool, or is that a different brewery that is Moose Drool?
Moose Drool is like a Kansas beer or something. Like I bought it when I was
because I know I've had Moosehead, but the first thing that jumps in my head is Moose Drool, because it's like a very decent.
It's actually they make it.
It's a very decent brown ale. Yeah,
they make it around here, because I remember having it last time, like fucking 10 years ago. I did a shoot in Wichita, and I was here for my birthday, and
Wichita,
Wichita, Kansas, or as the locals call it, the Taw, is what Rich always told me, that because he's from Lawrence, Kansas. He always told me
I call it Wichita.
They call it the Taw, so that's what I refer to it as. But anyway, if you're here, if you ever watch SLC Punk, you know how hard it is to get good beer here. You have to go to an actual liquor store to get like real beer. Otherwise, it'll have like less alcohol content or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we had to drive out of state, or we had to go a ways to go to like a state licensed liquor store or whatever, because of religious oppression and all that of the Panhandle. But
did you bring Jason Segel with you?
I wish. But anyway, we went there, and Moose Drool was one of the beers that we bought, and in a sampler pack. So that's what I was getting to that. But it was somewhere around here.
It's a super easy drinking brown ale. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's one of those beers that a lot of people try to brew themselves. In fact, one of the first times I ever had, like, I went to someone's house and they had like, it was like this farmer guy who I was friends with his daughter, and she had like a bunch of people over to their house, and he had this whole barn area that was like his cave or whatever, and he had all these kegs of beer that he had brewed himself, and one of them was literally like a Moose Drool clone. That's what he called it. And he wasn't even trying to name it and be special about it. He's like, no, I was just trying to make that beer. And I thought that was kind of cool, and it was really good.
Actually, it's from Minnesota. Is MT is Minnesota, right?
I think so. Yeah, Montana.
Or Montana. It's Missoula.
Yeah, Minnesota's MN.
It's Missoula. Where's Missoula? Missoula MT.
Montana.
Okay, so it's from Montana. I don't know where that is, but is it by Kansas? Where is Montana at?
Montana's way up there. Montana's like more
like,
I think Missoula and Boise are kind of close to each other. They're very similar vibe towns. They're like their perspective. I call them the Urbanas of the different states. Like it's like more of a hippie town.
Montana's super north.
Yeah, ultra north.
There's just, it's as north as you can get before you get into Canada, of that part of America. I just, there's so many states I just have no idea where the fuck they are. But
my dad was born in Missoula.
But Moose Drool is a Montana beer.
Well, I just mentioned this Moosehead. One, because I saw it today, and then two, when I was at the grocery store. Lo and behold, there was some Moosehead beer there. So I didn't have enough money to buy 1,400 beers, but I bought a 4-pack of the Moosehead in solidarity with the Canadians.
You bought 1/350th of it.
Well, what you need to do, what's more affordable, what we've been doing, what Jess and I have been doing, is you just buy like 12 beers like a week, and then you just keep having one every day until Trump dies or he gets whatever to him. And that's how you do it. And you don't have to buy 1,000 beers, and you don't have to worry about them possibly being skunky or whatever. You just get them fresh from the store, and you can just keep buying one.
I think one of the jokes that they might be making, which is like obviously it's like probably unspoken, but one of the jokes might be like, buy this now before the tariffs make it way more expensive.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, buy your 4-year supply of moose drool before it multiplies in price by 4 or whatever. So
it seems like mostly they were selling it to Canadians.
It's mostly Canadian, I know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
In case they get bought by America. Isn't that what another one of
if
his
they don't have a
stupid schemes?
Something called if there's not a beer called Moose Knuckle, there needs to be, because that's such a good name for a beer.
He needs a moose knuckle to the face. That's what he needs. Anyway, yeah.
Cheers.
Why don't we talk about the news for the week?
Sure.
News. Don't snooze or you miss the news.
Let's see. Mario.
I
10.
did want to mention what that reminded me of, by the way. I forgot to mention it. Do you remember a few years ago, PBR did like I think it was like 100 pack or something like that, and it was like
that's way too much. It
was like 330 packs.
That's 100
like
too many beers of PBR.
But I actually saw it like at the store, like there, that was part of like a display they made where you could buy like 100 pack of PBR for like $50 or whatever, and it was just this unwieldy box that you could not have fit in a car.
I'll say it's got it. You need
like
truck
bed.
You need like a forklift or something to get out.
That's got to be heavy, not a box. Yeah,
It's just the way. It's literally like
24
packaged in such a way that it's really long. Like it was.
Yeah, is it like as tall as you?
It was like a
just
joke.
Just
it was a
joke.
joke.
And pull it out, whatever.
But I always wanted to get 100 pack of PBR when that happened, just because how funny would that look to drive through town? You got your like bed down on your truck, or the gate down on your truck bed, so you couldn't have it poking out the back with a little flag on it. You're like, sorry, I need to take these 100 beers home so I can start getting drunk.
Yeah, make sure it doesn't like start coming apart on the way home and you end up with only like 80 when you get home because they fell out the back.
Oh God, that's like some James Bond shit, dropping beers in the road.
That's how he beat Moneypenny way back.
That's when Q had his bender and all of his equipment was beer.
I mean,
based.
not Moneypenny was on his team. I mean, that's how he beat Hans Blofeld and the fourth one, as he just threw beers at him. That's a very James Bond move. Dropping beers out of a car. I don't think
it's very much
he ever did that. He might.
It also reminds me of
might now that he's owned by Amazon.
The Stephen King thingy with where the vending machine shooting cans at people to kill him.
Oh yeah.
Maximum
Overdrive. Yeah.
There's no cans for the family, soup for the family. You got to shoot it at people.
Cans, yeah, shoot them. They shoot out at you. Is what happened. Mario Day, Mar10.
Yeah.
Anybody do anything? I never do anything for Mar10. I mean, I only had a couple days off, so I mean,
I actually went back to Nintendo New York. I drove there and because I wanted to be like completely lost in a fucking event again. No, I didn't do that.
Oh, I know what I did on Mar10. AEW Revolution happened on Sunday, so I was
Sunday Mar10.
It was Mar9, but I was catching up on Revolution. I was also doing the WART radio, which you can find at patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast for $5 a month. You can listen to all those.
I say Monday Mar10 was when I had my meeting to figure out what I was going to do with my job. So that's when I kind of found out about what my new job was Mar10. So I guess that's significant. But I'm sad. I never had a Mar10 milk. I didn't find one. I never purchased one, and I feel awful for it.
Yeah, you got to get them. You got to get them before.
You got to get them in February.
Because they got to expire by March 10th.
You got to be on top of that by like the second week of February, or
else you got to go on eBay and get the spiked up Mar10 books.
I want that fermented milk because it's bulging.
Ugh. I mean, did you guys actually expect things from Martin? Like, I thought. No,
I said it on the show.
Martin was a joke for so long that
I thought we'd get.
Funny how long it took Nintendo to actually embrace it.
I thought we'd at least get a Nintendo Switch Online game because they did that last year, I think, where they could at least like throw a couple Mario games.
I honestly think I may have even
like,
and maybe I'm giving myself too much credit here, but I feel I may have a picture on Facebook or something from a really long time ago where I had a milk with the Mar10 on it.
Back before it was cool.
Yeah, back before it was cool because that's me.
I'm ahead of the trends. You were the original Mar10.
I've got my ears to the not the half pipe. I've got my ears to the date stone. Yeah, that doesn't work.
Back in the day, they called
your ears to the milk fridge.
There you go. I've got my ears on the dairy fridge, and I know
they called it the JR10 back then. before
They
it was
did,
Mario
yes.
10. I don't know why they renamed March into Jarch, and it was you could find.
Well, you forgot about
you could find.
you forgot about
Jer 10 milks.
you forgot about January, which was a month for just a year there.
Oh yeah. It was
That's back when I got
10.
that's back when I got the key to the calendar from the president, and I was like, "Can I have my own month just this one time?" And that was it. It doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, Jer 10 was the original Mar10, and I would have the milk to prove it if I hadn't drank it all and gotten sick.
Yeah,
I more ate it. It was very chunky.
It was a really epic day of Jer 10. Yeah, Mario Day. Nothing really happened, and I didn't have any time to do anything, even if there was.
I thought that we were going to get a little more of a peek at the Mario Kart.
Yeah,
I still think that would have made sense. That would have been cool to like tee up.
Nintendo does not.
3 weeks.
Nintendo is like very
when they give you
half-assedly
when they give you a direct date. They're not saying shit until that direct date.
Yep.
They've very been, they're very buttoned up about that. They're like, you're not hearing anything about anything.
That's why there's so much damage control. It's
not
like,
even another
this
direct.
event
not
will
even
be
February
this.
one.
It will not be anything else. And by the way, don't expect anything before this because this is so specific to what we've said.
But we're a couple weeks away from it at least, and
3 weeks. 3 weeks as of today.
You could
So
buy.
fucking close.
You could buy some Mario games for $20 off.
And there's no game that I want to buy. So there you go.
I think the best one in the bunch is a little game called Luigi's Mansion 3 for $40. Was number 2 on my top games of the year.
Which I'm trying to remember, but
it was up there. It was up there for 2020. It's a really good.
Do you
game.
remember? It was probably like a year ago, but I don't even remember what company or whatever award agency gave it like this kind of like roundabout award for being the best looking game on Switch or like
that was the Digital Foundry.
Yeah,
it's a damn good looking game.
You got to play it.
It's a beautiful ass game.
Pretty and so atmospheric and not hard. It keeps you going, but you're never like I don't want to play anymore. Like it's fun enough to where even though the Luigi thing seems like it would be tedious, but it's really not.
It makes no sense that I don't own this game, that I've never owned a Luigi's Mansion game.
Yeah, you're a self-proclaimed Luigi fan, but you never was interested in his solo missions that he went out on.
Honestly,
it makes sense for you because it's really like a item collection game is really what it comes down to. Like you're trying to get 100%.
I mean, you could even call it
finish it.
You could even call it a point-and-click game because there is a lot of interacting with the environment as you go through. It does kind of feel like a point-and-click game that has
anything interactable
vacuum
is
battles also.
The whole reason
coins or something.
The whole reason that I never got into it was IGN gave it a less than great review.
You should also stop paying attention to IGN's reviews.
I mean, there's a reason why everybody leaves IGN, and that's because of the score they gave Luigi's Mansion 3.
They led me astray on that one.
There's a reason why people stop reading IGN reviews too, because they've given some pretty ass games and movies like high reviews. So I mean, I'm just saying
they go and give a gem like Eternal Ocean a bad score, and you're like, I don't even know anymore.
And then there's games like God Hand, which they give like a 4, and then they put it in their like top 25 best PS2 games of all time. It makes no fucking sense. Yeah. It's like
rewriting history.
Yeah, it's like we hate this game. Oh no, wait, no, it's one of the best PS2 games ever. It's like fucking figure out your life.
When did they start? Like 98, 97, or 98? They were originally a Nintendo 64 website.
96, yeah.
I remember mentioning that for like Mike did a podcast about God Hand, and he always posts like put your comments on there, and I wanted to mention how confused IGN was about that game because they both hated it and loved it at the same time.
That's a perfect segue. 64 hands. Let's talk about this Glover review from the Nintendo World Report. They say that Glover on Switch is really bad.
Well, I watched.
Who had a hand in that review?
I mean, I watched the video of it. And they do actually say that they like Glover on 64 regular, but if you watch the video, just the way that they put it on Switch is bad. Like the way that it was converted, like because they talk, I guess like the way the lighting on it is weird, so like everything looks strange, and there's even like stuff missing like on characters, like the main character's like missing half of his mouth or whatever, like the main boss. Like there's like a whole bunch of like what the fuck things in it where it's like why is this gone, or like some things are transparent that shouldn't be, and it's just the whole thing is a mess from what I heard. So I guess I'm glad I didn't get the $20 Glover version of a game that I already have on 64 anyway, and forgot that I had. But yeah, apparently it's not a very good conversion between the two.
Yeah, hands down, I'm seeing that across the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah,
too bad.
I don't feel like showing G love to this until it gets a deep discount.
It's like they gave us all the middle finger.
The hamburger helper guy would have been a better character.
I'm not in love like a glove for this game at all. I'll quote some Reggie in the Full Effect on this show.
Well, I got a couple of patent leaks, rumors, whatever you want to call them.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that.
So Nintendo's filed a patent for an accessory that you can attach a smartphone to a console, which we would infer is the Switch 2.
Possible dual screen maybe with your phone.
I think it's a good solution because I think Nintendo's obviously long been itching for dual screen action. Going back to Punch Out, we all know.
Now they don't have to make it; they can just implement what everyone already has. Like even children have cell phones nowadays.
Right. All we just need is a comfortable way to hold the second screen when we're holding a controller. And they say that you'll be able to use magnets to snap it onto the system, or I imagine they've got some solution for snapping it onto whatever the new Pro controller is too.
I'm thinking like a clip that just sticks to the top and turns it into a DS.
Yeah, cool. I'm all for it. And then there's another one that says they're improving voice chat for the Switch too.
They better
proximity based, right?
What's that?
Proximity based, yeah. Like it actually has to do with a micro. It sounds like a microphone on the Switch 2 and not an app on your phone. So hooray!
It's literally about and it's about like a virtual microphone. Like it's about like mapping out the 3D space in such a way that some dumb ass isn't like, clogging up your headphones with something like half a map across. It's the people that you're working with that are near you, or maybe a bad guy walks by you and you can talk to him, but it's only because he's close to you. I like it because it's like real life, Yeah. You can't hear things when they're too far away. I've learned that with trying to hear people when they go to a different room in my house.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. Makes it more immersive. Yep. So hopefully they get this all right.
I love a game like Fortnite, which does have chat in it. I don't know if it's got really good proximity-based chat, but because so much about that game is like,
well, you have to
you can really zone out and listen to the sounds of and you can hear where people are, and like if you could hear overhear people talking, like a block away, and sort of prepare yourself for that. That's cool. That's awesome. It's like real life.
I mean, you have to have a headset to use the voice chat on Fortnite, and also weirdly enough, Friday the 13th, the game had voice chat on it too through a headset. That plugs into the system.
Killer Queen had it, and you could record it in the. You could record the voice chat with the capture. That was so cool. So Nintendo already has the capability. I guess they're just making it exactly what they want it to be and have it be the official version of it, I guess.
Yeah. Hopefully they figure all this stuff out and the Switch 2 it meets up with all our technical.
I do like that they said there was an FCC filing indicating there will be NFC on the Switch 2, which
I know.
I wouldn't there be.
I think we talked about that last week, didn't we? A little bit.
It's like it's probably just another little chip they got to put on the board,
Sure. I mean, NFCs are so cheap now. Everything has NFC. Your credit card, whatever it works on NFCs. It's so inexpensive. It just makes it just makes sense to not have it. Yeah.
And a lot of, pretty much every gas station has where you can tap your phone in there. The other thing that's cool about that is about the same. I think the same whatever articles that people said is we're getting an upgrade to the Wi-Fi and Switch 2 from Switch 1, because Switch 1 had Wi-Fi 5, and we're getting Wi-Fi 6 now. So finally, we're actually getting a better Wi-Fi that's exponentially better. I guess Wi-Fi 7 is like the newest one, but Nintendo would never do that. They would always want to be one behind, so that's why. But that's cool because Wi-Fi kind of sucks on the Switch, so it can be better. And did anybody ever confirm whether the Switch 2 dock had an Ethernet plug or not on it? Anybody
I'm sure it has to. Yeah. No, I've never confirmed it, but come on. I've been using the Ethernet adapter for 5 or 6 years, whatever, never went back. It's the way to go.
I barely.
And
used
doesn't
it.
the OLED dock have a built-in Ethernet adapter?
It does, but I don't use it. I've never.
So
I've never
you would
used
think
it.
the OLED dock is probably their stock dock now.
Well, I was going to say,
improve upon.
I think they're going to wait a few years and then release the Switch 2 OLED with an Ethernet dock on it, and it won't be there before that. They got to make you wait like 4 years, and then they'll have that.
Yeah. And then they'll add Bluetooth finally.
But I mean, yeah, I never used the Ethernet plug. The only time I ever used the Ethernet was for the PlayStation 4, just to make the remote play work better.
That's what I've got my PS5 hooked up to the Ethernet, but
yeah, that's.
I guess my
hardwired or anything.
I'm using the Wi-Fi right now with this, so I don't even hardwire my computer anymore.
On the Switch, I found it made a noticeable difference, especially like when I was playing Mario Maker 2 online a lot. Like it was night and day difference. It just made it so much better. And certainly with Hitman, all the Hitman that I played on the cloud and all that. So
yeah, you played the cloud.
I will be wired for the Switch 2 as well. Yep. Here's a new game coming from the Streets of Rage 4 developers called Absolum. That's ABSOLUM. It's a roguelite beat 'em up, and it's a new IP.
So how do
made that?
So how do you feel about this? Because this is like a beat 'em up RPG. There's RPG elements in it.
I'm great with it. It looks cool.
I've heard people compare it to the old D&D beat 'em ups that Capcom did, which actually were released for Wii U, which I bought on sale when the Wii U eShop was getting shut down. They're really fun, but cool. I don't think it's announced for Switch yet, but it probably will be.
No, it's not confirmed, but yeah, it looking at the video, it looks like it could totally run on Switch and certainly Switch 2. Yep, I'm excited for that. Oh, we got some more details on Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Sure, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I looked through that. I mean, I didn't look through it in detail, but it basically kind of tells you, like, which games will have, like, remixed music on it and various different things like that. I'm still very excited for this game. It's coming out in May. I forgot for a second that it was coming out, but it's still coming out. So, hey, I'm going to play that Capcom versus SNK 2. Which on this article that you linked actually says Capcom versus SNK 4, which maybe they're just being hopeful there. I don't think we ever had a 3 or a 4, but let's just skip 2 and just say, unless you want to say SNK versus Capcom is 3, which I don't think it is, but whatever. But yeah, no, those games are awesome. Get them whenever they come out because they're badass fighting games on Switch. Hooray!
I'm interested in this. Time Traveler arcade. I know this is a mock-up or whatever.
Oh my gosh,
this gauge interest, but what a cool idea to bring something like this to.
My interest is through the roof on this. Like, I've seen their
that's like the hologram games, right? The old like hologram Sega games.
Yeah.
So this is like
I'm trying to remember what that specific technique is called. It's something Ghost. It's like a technique.
They were awful to play, but
they uses mirrors and stuff to
basically
make it look like
use a concave lens to focus everything into the middle and make it look 3D.
Yeah, that's right. So this is Time Traveler. We all remember this game. We all played it at Galloping Ghosts. It's it was the first hologram game. But now New Wave Toys, who makes a line of miniature arcades, they put out a mock-up along with a survey trying to gauge interest in a Time Traveler mini arcade game. Man, I'm so excited for the possibility of this. And the cost of it is going to be, it would be really expensive.
It's essentially Dragon's Lair with a gimmick added.
It is
how the gameplay works.
But what a cool thing to have on your desktop, like a little mini Time Traveler arcade game.
Yeah.
Of all the experiences that I've had, seeing games for the first time, Time Traveler for me is one of the ones that really stands out because I saw it first when I was 8 years old, and I saw it in, of all places, Frankenmuth, Michigan, at a hologram museum. If you're familiar with Frankenmuth, it's a little.
I'm not, but I like holograms.
So it's Frankenmuth is like a little town in here in Michigan that is known mostly for the Bronner's Christmas store. Like that's the biggest draw in town. It's supposedly the biggest Christmas store in the world, and the whole town is kind of like built a little bit around that. There's Xander's Chicken. You go to Xander's Chicken for the best chicken in the world and all that. It's a little like touristy town right here, and so with that kind of thing come little tourist shops, such as this hologram store that was around in whenever I was there in 1990 or so.
Yeah.
I remember walking into the store, and it was not the type of place where you expected to see a video game, but there was this space age video game. All of a sudden, not only was I not expecting to see a video game, I definitely was not expecting to see a hologram video game at this. I didn't know this existed. I was 8 years old, and this is just like blowing my mind at a time when just about any video game would have blown my mind. And so it really, really made an impression on me. And so this is like so cool to me that New Wave Toys is thinking about doing this time traveler arcade, which I would honestly, if I had a spare couple $100, I would do this. I would totally get this.
It would be a conversation piece, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yep. And I've seen their products too. I remember like when I was at E3, their booth was right next to the booth that I was working. And so I was looking at their products all day and talking to some of the guys from the company and all that. And they make really quality miniatures. So I'm certain that $300-400 would be really, really worth it too.
You had to have gone like that was like one of the apexes of holograms being important, because the 1989 Upper Deck cards, like all the different sports, had like holographic stickers you could get. And they were really, really nice holograms. They were like high quality, like images of the different teams and stuff. And I remember trying to collect all those. Well, it would have been a few years later in the early 90s. But that 1989 Upper Deck set was so cool. Every card had a hologram on it. And it was just a little tiny one. It's like whatever they're like, kind of their watermark or whatever to make sure it's an authentic card. But holograms are so cool. Like, I don't know. I recommend, if you like holograms, look up some old articles like from National Geographic from the 80s or something and read about them, because it's kind of insane how much data they were able to capture with holographic film. Like, it's actually been proposed multiple times in history. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but as a method of data storage, like a holographic hard drive would be like a way of storing like a crazy amount of data, because of it actually having an XYZ axis and how the data is saved. So I don't know if that'll ever happen, but yeah, holograms are cool. Holograms are super cool.
I agree.
If you really like holograms, you should watch the wrestler Hologram on AEW Collision. He's very good.
And then find Jim and the Holograms on your cartoon streaming service of choice.
I would say Hologram's cool. He actually was a big part of making Collision cool, because Collision kind of sucked for a while, but Hologram's a badass dude, and you can buy
those toys, the Visionaries. I had those when I was a kid.
You can buy a hologram.
Action figures with holograms on them.
You can buy hologram T-shirts now at most AEW events. They've gotten up there. He's gotten up there like with the Outrunners. That's a very popular tag team. Cool. If for some reason I drop out,
we don't have to say much about it. We have to at least acknowledge that
we should talk about the Niantic thing.
Chrono Trigger hit 30.
Chrono Trigger's 30th anniversary
as of March 12th.
Chrono Trigger, yeah.
Japan.
I felt like we had already had a anniversary for this, but maybe I was thinking of Final Fantasy VI, and maybe you didn't. Well, I know there's already been one, but I didn't think we had mentioned it before on here. I don't know.
But yeah, let's definitely mention this Niantic stuff, because it's
Chrono Trigger.
Scary.
Yeah, Niantic, they like sold all their shit, like all their gaming division and like Pokemon Go and Monster Hunter. Was it Monster Hunter?
The whole game
or whatever it is. Yeah,
for $3.5 billion, which Niantic, always struck me, and I think a lot of people, as a technology data gathering company using video games to do its true mission.
Because they had that game Ingress before.
Yes,
Pokemon Go. It was essentially the same thing without Pokemon.
Yeah, I remember that.
So whatever they're up to now, they're. I think they've got all their data and their means of tracking people and their locations and whatever. There must be bigger business ventures elsewhere than even the multi-billion-dollar success.
I mean, who knows? Whoever was at the tippity top of their board decided that was what they wanted to do, and that's why it happened.
Yeah, that's right, and that's the way that executives function, in the short term. They want to make their money and get out. So whether it's for the health of the company or whatnot,
But yeah, we know that Saudi Arabia
some bucks,
has been trying to buy up a lot of video game stock, and they currently own 7.5% of Nintendo.
And that's who they sold it to. They sold it to the same investment fund,
Savvy Games Group,
that owns the 7.5% stake in Nintendo, which to me signals some kind of strategy to get in deeper at Nintendo. Like, what else could it be? They bought the company that made Pokemon Go. At least that portion of the company. They have a 7.5% stake in Nintendo. So they're like, that's two moves on whatever chess game that they're playing. They're moving toward Nintendo.
Basically, video games are the new oil.
Yeah, and I'm not even trying to say that a takeover of Nintendo is going to happen, is imminent tomorrow, whatever. But they're making some kind of moves toward Nintendo. Like, I would not be surprised if the next move is to try and say get a bigger stake of the Pokemon company, so that they can have a little bit more leverage with Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Go after.
If nothing else, they're going to make more money off Nintendo.
Yeah, you got it. The next big dog would be the Pokemon company, right? So I think that's probably somewhat, attainable.
I feel like if that company was ever up for sale, Nintendo would have snatched them up. But maybe they're going to offer something sweeter,
right? So it just makes me nervous. Makes a lot of people nervous. Yep. Yeah. So watch that space.
Pretty fucked up. Let me say a couple more Xenoblade stuff, since I'm going to end it with the Xenoblade song anyway.
Sure.
Tetris 99 Maximus Cup this weekend. Xenoblade Chronicles X. Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Put it in my veins. Let's do it. I'm ready for it. Check that out.
Gold mine.
Yeah, that song has to be on there somewhere, right? I didn't mention it. I always you want to, but like how they're having 3 different versions of Gold Mine on the new game. There's the Gold Mine song, and there's a remix of it, and there's also a version without lyrics in it, where you can just listen to an acoustic or whatever you would call it.
Also known as karaoke.
Yeah, but
because I will be singing Gold Mine.
What I really want it to do, and I don't know if it does this, but hopefully it does, is what I want it to kind of do what the Tony Hawk games did, and actually the other HD one did this as well. Is like whenever you get in the Skell and whenever you take off, can we just have it not just start wherever you were in the song? Because some people are never going to hear the end of the song. And there's some really cool stuff at the end, but you're not going to hear it unless you're flying like all the way to the end of the fucking world or whatever, because it's like a 10-minute song.
It is. And it's very like
just don't have it always start at the beginning every time you get in a thing. Like have it start wherever you were and just keep going. And they did that with the Tony Hawk, with the new 1 and 2 remake, the 1 and 2 HD, but they also did it with the other one. With the guys before they did 5, they did the same thing where the song kept going when you do a different run or whatever. Just do that for this, please. So some people can finally hear the end of Don't Worry, because maybe I'm the only one who's heard it because I have the whole soundtrack. But there's a lot of stuff at the end there that's great, and it's a long ass song. So if you have WRT radio, you can hear the whole thing on there. Also, with the scale information or whatever, they just told you like what you'll get for pre-order. So I think this is pretty cool, because make sure you pre-order, Jeremy, because you won't get this stuff. Actually, you can preload it up till after it releases.
Up until April sometime, yeah.
But you get 100,000 credits, advanced iron knife, advanced storm assault rifle, goggles, bodywear, gloves, footwear, weapon augments, melee accuracy up 1, ranged accuracy up 1, melee up 1, ranged, Thyroid Slayer 1, secondary, whatever. Extra armor augments, HP, TP up, a bunch of shit. So reserve
Toilet
the game.
Paper.
Pre-order it so you can get all this stuff for Xenoblade Chronicles X. But yeah, that's good for this episode. Thanks everybody for listening to 462. If you like hearing us talk and you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast. And you can also find other stuff of ours at youtube.com/NintenDomain podcast. If you don't like listening to podcasts on a podcast app, you can listen to them there, which is a static picture, and you can hear it. You can hear it there, and you can hear like my arcade room tone and whatever other shit that's on there. You check that out there. But we've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson,
Jerry Mikowski,
John Knitter,
and thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next time.
See ya over there. It's a gold mine.
I just got a text from my computer from Verizon also telling me that I'm using way too much hotspot data because the internet sucks here too, and I'm using my phone again to do this podcast, and I did it 2 weeks in a row, and they're just telling me that I'm using too much, but whatever.
I feel like I'm taking up too much space in your data. I apologize.
Well, it's the hotspot data because I'm on an unlimited plan. I don't know why they're doing this to me, but
I had the same thing. I was using my hotspot at work today.
Yeah,
but they didn't give me any warnings.
Well, just keep using it, and maybe they will eventually.
They will.
Probably.
Maybe they'll acknowledge my presence.
Yeah, pay attention to me.